You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob, and this video we're going to discuss box office predictions for Godzilla 2014. Now, this is something that I briefly touched upon in the past, primarily I believe in a Q&A video where somebody asked me what I thought the movie would make. But this video we're going to get a little bit more into a comprehensive discussion in regards to the box office and what we can expect Godzilla to bring in. Now, as many of you know, I'm a huge Godzilla fan, but with that said, I also try to remain as fair and as objective as possible, no matter how much I love the creature. We got to be realistic here. Now, as much as I would love to see this movie make $1 billion worldwide throughout the box office in its run, that's more than unlikely. A lot of intangibles play a role into how much money this movie is going to make. Number one, there's still going to be people left with a bad taste in their mouth about Godzilla 98. Number two, there's still a general audience out there who does not take Godzilla seriously, and the first thing they think about when they think Godzilla is big man in a rubber suit with a plastic city just trouncing it left and right. Another thing is the competition. Competition is so stiff right now in that month, it's not even funny. I mean, you got Spider-Man that comes out 2 weeks before. And even though going into Godzilla, that'll be Spider-Man's third week, you got to assume that they're still going to be taking in quite a few $1 million for that movie. A week after Godzilla, you got X-Men. And while I feel more comfortable about Godzilla facing off against X-Men, X-Men will still draw. The trailer looks very good. I myself am going to see it. Obviously, I have issues with the movie, but for the most part, I am an X-Men fan, and I look forward to the movie. So there's a lot of things that Godzilla has to climb to be very successful. Now, let's start with the overseas, because this is the easy one. I think everybody agrees that overseas Godzilla is going to do very well. In particular, China. Maybe, China and Japan do not have the greatest of relations, so I'm not sure how much of a big role that'll play, but it is possible. But for the most part, even with that, I think it's safe to say that Godzilla can probably do between 300 and 400 million overseas. So that much said, I believe in the States, optimistically, I'm going to say 300 million. Realistically, between 225 and 250. I think that, and that's not bad. That's not bad. I'm not. That to me is a fair assessment. I think when you play the cards in terms of the competition and past history of Godzilla and how people view it outside of the hardcore fans, I think 225 to 250 is a fair assessment as to whether or not, or rather, how it's going to do in the States. Now, the other thing you got to take into account too is the marketing has been very good, and this. Let's go over some of the positive things that can make it break that 300 threshold for the States. The marketing's been very good lately, okay, for the last almost, from February, I would say from the end of February up to this very point, the marketing has been fantastic. This movie does have more star power than the Godzilla 98 movie. A lot of people may not be too familiar with some actors like Juliette Binoche, but she is originally from France. She does not do movies like this. This is not her forte. She primarily does a lot of theater work. She's done a lot of more dramatic movies. English Patient, for those of you who are aware of her, she won an Oscar for The English Patient. So, and she's not going to be in the movie very long. I mean, it's very evident now at this point that we're not going to see very much of her. So, Bryan Cranston obviously has shown that he's got some acting capabilities. Everybody agrees he was fantastic on Breaking Bad. We all know that he was in Malcolm in the Middle, okay? And just from early looks at the trailer, you can see that he's putting a very emotional, passionate performance from what we've seen into this movie. Young star power. People are becoming more and more familiar with Aaron Taylor Johnson. Most people know him from Kick-Ass, but he was also in a movie called Savages, which was directed by Oliver Stone, which in my opinion was a very good movie. A lot of people have mixed feelings about that movie. Elizabeth Olsen is probably, out of everybody, the least well-known. If you don't know, she is the younger sister of the Olsen twins, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. But she has done a good job in her career so far to kind of distance herself from their shadow and establishing herself. Most of her work before Godzilla has been more indie films, and she's been getting a lot of notoriety and a lot of billing from those films. Godzilla probably being her first mainstream film, and of course, as everybody knows, or at least most people know, Elizabeth Olsen will also be starring in Avengers 2 as the Scarlet Witch, playing sibling to Aaron Taylor-Johnson, who she plays the wife of in this movie. Ken Watanabe, obviously, you know, Inception, Batman Begins, a slew of other movies he's been in. Very popular in Japan, very popular here in the States. So that is another. So these, you know, when you compare this cast to the 98 cast, I mean, it's far better, more skilled actors. Not to crap on any of the actors from the 98 film, but Kevin Dunn primarily has done movies in the stupid cat. She always does that to me during my videos sometimes. Kevin Dunn has done a lot of good work, and I actually like Kevin Dunn as an actor, but he has done primarily small comedy roles. Matthew Broderick was probably one of the bigger names in the movie. Jean Reno is a fantastic actor, another actor from France. Hank Azaria has been primarily comedy. So, you know, when you look at the scale of actors from the 98 to this movie, I think it's clear that this movie is going to be a more serious movie. Even if you don't know the story plot or anything like that, or you haven't been paying attention to the marketing, if you look at the cast, you can see that's a very good cast. And even in the supporting role, Michael T. Jones, Patrick Sabongi, who most people, if you watch movies like 300, if you've seen Almost Human, he's not a big name actor, but he has done some pretty credible work in the industry. So I think it's a solid cast. Not super duper A-listers like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, but you don't need that. You know, what you need are good performers, and I think they've got a good performing cast. Do I think that's going to play a role into how it's going to do at the box office? I do. I do think it's going to play a role. I also think that's one of the reasons they're highlighting Bryan Cranston. Many people would agree with that, and many people have said that. So another positive is that whether people like him or not, whether people consider him corny or whatever the case may be, Godzilla is well known in the world. He is well known in the world. Even people who are not fans of him or have never seen his movies, they hear the word Godzilla, you know what people are talking about. I think that's a plus, but it also doubles as a negative because people also take cheesy with Godzilla. So, you know, I think word of mouth helps as well. I think the Godzilla community, while we have over this time period fought amongst each other, for the most part, everybody has gotten the word out. Everybody has done their best to try and make people aware of this movie and the potential it brings and the things and the tone of the movie, which is probably the most important thing. And that leads me to the next positive. Now the commercial spots are popping up and people are seeing, and it's so clear that this Godzilla movie is years beyond what the 98 movie did. And even beyond what some of the original films have done, you know, outside of the original 54 and 84, which was also a dark tone, I think people are going to see that this movie is a serious movie. And it's just a matter of whether or not they want to take that chance. And hopefully enough G fans can get out there, and maybe some small percentage of general fans can get out there the weekend this movie comes out and really, really get the word out that the movie, you know, hopefully it's going to be very good. So at the end of the day, you know, we're not getting into too much numbers. I think what you're going to look at is anywhere between 670 and 700 million taken in by the movie worldwide total at the end of its run, which to me is a fantastic success. I would be willing to bet they have not spent as much on marketing as some people might think, because they did a chunk of it towards the movie itself. And, you know, it's only in the last couple of weeks that you've really seen a whole lot. They haven't been pumping this out like Sony has done to Spider-Man. So, you know, we'll see. But I think that's my assessment. I think It's fair to say 200 to 250 realistically in the States. Hoping for 300. That's what I would like to see. And I think at least between 3 and 4 overseas, if not more. If not more. It could possibly be more because Pacific Rim did 300 and Godzilla is a well-known around the world. So I think he'll pull that 4, maybe even 450. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But it's got a lot of things working against it. It's got a lot of intangibles within how it's going to perform in the long run and things of that nature. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think. What do you think will Godzilla do in the box office, both domestically and worldwide? And why do you think it'll do those numbers? This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do the news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Nation Facebook page.